Welcome back to A Moment in History. I'm Seth Udinsky. In this moment in history, let's take a turn from our usual historical subjects of study and look at a fascinating piece of written history from the Christian Church. Specifically, we're going to study a hymn. Now, hymns have been used since the Old Testament times to express worship and praise to God, and they've become a vital part of the Christian worship service, inviting believers into a state of gratitude and thanksgiving before God to prepare the hearer's heart for the sermon. Let's explore one of the oldest and most influential hymns in Christianity, a hymn that many of us still sing regularly on Sunday mornings today, Be Thou My Vision. Now, as I said earlier, this is one of the oldest surviving hymns in Christendom. Where many of the songs we sing were written within the past 200 to 300 years, historians estimate that the lyrics for Be Thou My Vision might be 1,500 years old. They were first penned in Ireland right after the Christianization of the island under the English missionary Patricus, better known of course as St. Patrick. No one knows the exact date. It could have been anywhere between 500 and 1000 AD, but many historians argue that it was indeed sometime in the mid-6th century AD. An example to prove this is the line in the final stanza, which says this, "High King of Heaven, my victory won." Now, today we don't often refer to God as our High King as much as just our King, but in early medieval Ireland, this would have made a lot of sense. The country was split into various tribes with lower tribal lords, often treated and called kings, in control. Occasionally, though, a man of great strength and legend would arise and unite the kingdoms, a man such as Brian of Boru in the early 11th century. A man like this was hailed as the High King. This was the picture of God that these early believers understood. God as their mighty High King who brings unity and victory through Jesus Christ. The hymn as we know it today was anglicized and eventually put to the familiar tune that we know in the early 20th century. Its lyrics have strengthened and encouraged believers for centuries, and they ring equally true today as they did in the early Middle Ages. Let the words of this famous first stanza bring you encouragement as we close this moment in history. Be thou my vision, O Lord of my heart, naught be all else to me save that thou art. Thou my best thought by day or by night, waking or sleeping, thy presence my light. Thanks so much for joining me once again for A Moment in History.